The idea that to live is to suffer and to suffer is to find meaning in suffering touches on some of the deepest questions humans have grappled with throughout history. Let me explore this rich concept with you. This perspective echoes strongly with existentialist philosophy, particularly the work of Viktor Frankl, who survived the Nazi concentration camps and wrote extensively about finding meaning in the most extreme suffering. Frankl argued that we cannot always choose our circumstances, but we can always choose our response to them. His experiences led him to conclude that those who could find meaning in their suffering were more likely to survive and ultimately thrive. The Buddhist tradition also recognizes suffering as fundamental to human existence. The First Noble Truth states that life inherently contains suffering dukkha, not just physical pain, but the deeper dissatisfaction that comes from impermanence, unfulfilled desires, and the human condition itself. However, Buddhism does not stop at acknowledging suffering. It provides a path toward understanding and transcending it through wisdom and compassion. Your statement suggests something even more profound, that suffering is not just an inevitable part of life, but potentially the very mechanism through which we discover meaning. This transforms suffering from a purely negative experience into something that can be generative and purposeful. When we face hardship, loss, or pain, we're forced to confront fundamental questions. What matters most? What can I endure? How do I want to respond to this challenge? Consider how some of humanity's greatest art, literature, and philosophical insights have emerged from periods of intense suffering. The blues gave voice to oppression and hardship while creating beauty. War poetry captures both the horror and the profound human connections forged in extremity. Personal tragedies often catalyze people to dedicate their lives to helping others avoid similar pain. Yet this perspective requires careful consideration. While suffering can lead to growth and meaning, it's important not to romanticize pain or suggest that all suffering is necessary or beneficial. Some suffering is senseless and destructive. The key distinction might be between suffering that overwhelms and destroys versus suffering that, while difficult, can be integrated into a meaningful narrative of one's life. The process of finding meaning in suffering often involves several elements: acceptance of what cannot be changed, the cultivation of resilience, the development of empathy for others who suffer, and the transformation of personal pain into something that serves a larger purpose. This might manifest as becoming an advocate for others, creating art that speaks to universal human experiences, or simply developing a deeper capacity for compassion. There is also the question of whether meaning must be found in suffering, or whether it can be discovered through joy, love, creativity, and connection. Perhaps the fullest human experience involves finding meaning through the entire spectrum of human emotion and experience, with suffering being one important teacher among many. Your observation also raises questions about the relationship between individual and collective suffering. How do we find meaning not just in our personal struggles, but in witnessing and responding to the suffering of others? This connects to concepts of social responsibility and the ways that shared suffering can build community and solidarity. The search for meaning in suffering is ultimately a deeply personal journey. What gives one person's pain purpose might not resonate with another. Some find meaning through spiritual or religious frameworks, others through humanistic values, and still others through creative expression or service to others. What aspects of this relationship between suffering and meaning resonate most strongly with your own experience or thinking? I'd be curious to hear more about what prompted this reflection and how you see these ideas playing out in your own life or observations of the world. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be updated for more inspiring content. You can also leave a comment and share the video so that we could reach and inspire more people. Thank you, and to God be all the glory.